Hi.
Hello.
This is Lewin.
This is Rob.
I directed I Declare War and produced it, I guess, a bit. And
That sucked.
okay. Hi, I'm Rob. I'm the director of I Declare
That
War.
sucked.
Hi, I'm Rob Wilson. I directed I Declare War.
Hi, I'm Lewin Webb. I'm the producer of I Declare War. This is my partner, Rob Wilson, director and producer of I Declare War. Absent today, our other co-director and writer, Jason Lepere, and our missing partner, Patrick Cameron. I Declare War is a project that originally came to me in the good old-fashioned way. It was submitted to me by an agent as a writing sample for a young writer out of Toronto, Jason Lepere. And I adored it. I read it about now 6-7 years ago, and it was just one of those things where I had 2 to 3 scripts from this writer, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then this one happened to come across my desk, and it was the last one I read, and it was just one of those sort of strangely special projects that spoke to me in a way that many, you read so much, that many other films and other projects just don't. It was a really honest voice. It depicted kids as I believed kids were, the kids I saw my own children playing with, my own reflections on my childhood. So in that sense, it resonated really strongly.
Yeah, it never came down with a heavy-handed message, this is bad, or this is just, it was a slice of life at 13.
Because one of the motifs in the film is we deal with imagery from war films, and that was one of the devices that we wanted to use, and one of the things that Jason and Rob incorporated into the storytelling. So visual motif in that respect was important. So it was important that when the kids, in the visceral element of when they go from holding sticks into the world of their imagination, where we see them with actual real guns, they couldn't just be rat-a-tat-a-tat, doing that sort of thing. It had to be as if they really were in that principled role of being a soldier and on a military maneuver. So we have a stunt coordinator in Toronto who's done a lot of work with Rob and I, who's actually he's a stage fight choreographer as well, so he's got a great sense of discipline, and he works very well with actors. So John Stead came in, and we spent a fair bit of time training them how to hold the gun, how the guns would be held with military precision, how to move through the forest with the guns, and that sort of thing. It was a lot of fun. And we also saw a lot of the sort of social development of the kids at that point, as all the boys realized there was one girl, and she was kind of nice, and
she had a crossbow. It was the best set. And I mean, you've been on way more sets than I at your advanced age, but
they were professional, as Rob said.
Engaged.
They were engaged, they were prepared, they knew everyone's lines. Those who didn't have the immediate on-set experience in terms of working with crafts, in terms of technicians and lighting and cinematographers and that sort of thing. I mean, maybe because their brains are young and malleable, that they knew within the first 6 hours of what the expectation was in terms of interacting with the other with the crew, the behind-the-camera crew. I don't think we ever waited on an actor.
No,
we
never.
I mean, we had a tight schedule. We, I mean, if
and
we
were doing difficult content, difficult scenes, difficult dialogue. In some cases, a lot of dialogue. In some cases, too much dialogue. But they were able to do what they had to do performance-wise in front of the camera and shut that stuff off camera, and they were just having fun. I mean, it didn't matter what was happening. We were being rained out, and that was as good to them as not being rained out, right? It wasn't, it was a unique experience.
We had the best parents, because they were non-invasive.
Yeah.
They were, and we worked really hard as a group to embrace everybody. I mean, we didn't have very much money, we didn't have very much resources, we needed everybody to be on side. So we worked really hard to make sure everybody knew what was going on, what the expectations were, and we tried to make everybody as comfortable as possible, and that extended to the parents. I mean, they were to a person so giving and respectful, and of course, we keep waiting every day for the other shoe to drop in terms of what the film is about and what's going on in the film. I mean, before we cast everyone, we had conversations with the parents to make sure they were comfortable with the fact that the kids were going to be doing what they were going to be doing and what they were going to be saying. And I think almost to a person, mums and dads just looked at us and went, yeah, that's what they are. That's what they say. These are the games that they play. This is reality. This is perfect. And the ones who've had their kids in other projects and other films, like, this is the sort of work we want our kids to be doing. If the torture sequence hadn't been extreme and hadn't left room for interpretation about how far is this character and is this young boy really prepared to go, it would have devalued everything else about the film. We wouldn't have had that stretch and strain and that poignancy. So
long conversations about how to cheat in there the fact that Skinner had a plan from the beginning, and it involved this plan, and this was a methodical decision on his part that he was going to carry through if he could. I mean, speaking to Michael Friend, actually looking at the behind the scenes, he says something interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to use this or not, but Michael Friend says something interesting about Skinner. He says that Skinner at this point believes his life will always be like this. It will never change. This is what it is. And that's sort of the core motivation and maybe mistake that leads him down the path he goes down. He's angry about that. He's frustrated about that. He's heartbroken about that. He's sure his life will not change. For some reason, he never got, I guess, patience. A funny thing happened when the film came out, because the world seemed to focus on bullying, and we never once said bully him more as a piece of direction. We never once bought the script and thought, wow, this will be something that speaks to this particular issue that's current right now. It just didn't happen that way, and we didn't even really draw the parallels until articles started drawing the parallels. But clearly, I mean, we'd read the script. It was in the script. It's a major part of the script, and that's the torture sequences. Probably bullying taken to its height, and maybe going as far as you ever want to see it go, right? I mean, it's...
And that's why I asked if you, because that is what at the heart of the film is the experience, and I will speak for Jason now because he has said this so many times, and we discussed this together in prep, and we talked about this as part of the script. One of the things that he was striving to do when he first wrote the project, and one of the qualities about the project that appealed to me and appealed to Robin, was one of the commonalities that we all shared, is that the script tried to capture the voice and experience, perhaps more importantly, of being 12, 13, 14, when everything, every emotion, every act, every reaction was extreme. Everything mattered to the utmost. And so the device of visceral virtual imaginations where the kids engage in actual warfare, where they see each other with guns, the qualities of their emotional reactions, the intensity, the strains, the stresses, everything, Jess's fantasy sequences in respect to her young love, all of these sorts of things, everything is heightened.
Michael Friend, who was nothing like Skinner, knew exactly what a bully was. He knew how to play a bully, he knew how to connect with the bully inside himself, he knew how to bring it and show it to us, and Siam knew how to be bullied. And I think that was integral to all of the power shifts and relationships within the story, and kind of what makes it so true to them is that whether or not we make mountains out of molehills or effectively actively police something in our children's lives, they're aware that it's there, they have to work through it.
2 points. One directly relating to the film is, and again, one of the great values in the original screenplay and Jason's setup is there is never any resolution. I mean, there's obviously a structural act resolution in the film for the story, but there's never any resolution for the polemics and the issues that are set up there, and that's important because again, part of the object and part of the intent is the film is speaking to people and to young people, and we hope is opening a door to conversation. You make a movie, you're making a message. It's inherent. It's just there. So we can't stand back and say, oh, we just made a movie. But if we can entertain first and foremost, and God forbid, be somewhat surreptitious about the process of providing message and education, I'm all for it. Our entire industry and art form does have a responsibility in terms of being aware of what it is capable of doing, but never shying away from infusing message and merit in there. And then I think we as individuals, as parents and on our own, we need to work with all people, not just young people, in terms of making sure that they understand how to digest.
It's all well and good to have a message, but if the infrastructure is not in place to have the dialogue once the message is delivered.
Yeah. And I hope this film does make people speak and talk about it. I mean, that goes back to your very first question. It's like, why? That was a big reason for me, because it was a film that was really fun, but at the same time had something smart and intelligent to say.